What is up, New York Giants fans, Big Blue Nation? It's Robin Donald. This is Nerding Out Sports, and it is Eagles week. Philadelphia Eagles coming to town 11-1. They are rolling. Best team in the NFL record-wise, best team in the NFC, clearly. They're coming to town, and the New York Giants are banged up, and Brian Daboll said, quote, he's terrified of that team. So it's a game. It's going to be a game, an interesting game to say the least. Hopefully, we could put up a fight. But let's get pregame thoughts in here, Donald. What are you thinking as we head into Sunday, a couple of days away from now?
Obliteration. What are you thinking?
Kind of right around there. I think it's going to be one of those games where we fight for the first two quarters, but because we just can't hang, it's going to end up being obliteration by the second half.
Aha! Got our first guest on. My man Tony, how are you doing, brother? How are you?
Good to see you,
Yo,
Tony.
yo. So, yeah, me and Rob are pretty much in consensus that at least obliteration or just slightly short of obliteration, I think, is what's going to happen on Sunday. Tony, what are your thoughts? Do you think the Giants are going to compete, or are they going to get their asses blown out?
I'd be shocked if he says we're going to compete in the slightest, because he's been picking us to get blown out by just about everybody. So if he thinks that we're going to hang with Philly, then I got to.
He did think the Texans were going to beat us, and that was never going to happen.
Even as bad as we played that game, they still couldn't do it.
Really bad.
But he said
38-10 loss.
You know, for once, Tony, even though you are the irrelevant fan, you might be onto something this week. I mean, I could actually see it happening. I don't know if they put up 38, but I do think they're going to get very, very close. If not, they will reach 30 points, because I just don't know if our defense can hang with them for 4 quarters. Maybe for 2.5, maybe even 3. I just don't think we can hang with them for 4.
Yeah, not with our injuries, man. Not with the Dory Jackson and McKinney out. I do think our pass rush will make things interesting in the first half. I just don't think that we've got I just can't see that we have the strength over an entire 60 minutes.
Yeah, the only way that we do pull this game out is if, like, half of their roster comes down with an illness that keeps them out for Sunday. You know, like, I don't want to wish injury on anybody, but that's the only way we can beat Philly at this point. At full strength, I think we can put up a good fight and we can make it interesting. And maybe
why, Rob? Are you the Eagles chef on Sunday or something? That sounded very ominous, man.
Look, I'm not saying no. I don't know. Look, obviously, I'm not the Eagles chef. I'm not Gordon Ramsay here, but it's just that's the only way that we can beat these guys. But I'm saying at full strength, we could probably put up a fight, maybe even sneak out a W at home. But the way we are, Saquon's questionable right now. He will play, but he's questionable. Leonard Williams is out, or he's basically going to be out. He's doubtful. We know Adore's out. Hopefully we get Bredesen back, so at least the offensive line will be a little bit better. But Darius Slayton is still our number 1. Hodgins, who knows what we're going to get out of them. A banged-up Saquon. What can we really get from an offense that's already been struggling? And clearly Saquon has been dealing with this injury for a little while because he's ran terribly the last few weeks. The running game hasn't gotten much going at all. How are we going to put up points? That's my first legitimate question to you. How do the Giants put up points, if at all, against this Philadelphia defense?
Pass game. That's our best chance. Little bit of misdirection because we don't want guys to be comfortable in their spots. Misdirection plays. I would even go with a 2-back set with Breida and Saquon if Saquon in fact plays. I think a misdirection for Saquon is the only way that we actually scored against Washington with his touchdown. That's something that we might need to do again. But apart from that, then yeah, you need to air it out more with some mesh routes, and some deep routes. But I mean, really, the Eagles don't necessarily have any weaknesses because they got Bradbury at the corner slot. So
Slay.
And Slay's really good. So they don't have weaknesses there. Their front is tough and strong. And Saquon Barkley, despite, I think, having an excellent year, he's bottom 5 with running backs with yards after contact. So he's struggling to break tackles. He's not been breaking tackles for a number of weeks now. I'm not sure whether it's the wear and tear of the season now that's maybe starting to slow him down, but that seems to be an issue that we have right now. So I don't think we can over rely on the run game. I certainly can't rely on the run game even if Saquon's out. If Saquon's out, then we have to air it out. You know what I would do? Considering it's the Eagles and Saquon's banged up, I would rest Saquon this week and have him ready for next Sunday, because really it's the game against the Commanders, which is the playoff game. This game, you can give or take. We have to beat the Commanders. If we beat the Commanders, then we're in great shape to make the playoffs. Beat the Commanders, hopefully beat the Colts, then we're pretty much there, I think. Yeah. Have to beat the Commanders. It's the second game that matters. The Eagles, I don't think we've got a chance. We have less chance against the Eagles than we did against the Cowboys on Thanksgiving because of all the injuries that we had on Thanksgiving. But with this Eagles team, they're so strong, man. Hurts is having a great year.
Yeah, and we looking at their defense again. I mean, both Bradbury and Slay have 3 picks each.
Yep.
Avonte Maddox has 1. Scott has 1.
Sure.
And Blankenship apparently has 1. I don't know if that's even right. But one thing they do get to when they get to the quarterback, they have a mean pass rush. Hargrave has 8 sacks. Brandon Graham with 5.5. Reddick has 9 already. Sweat has 6.5. I mean, these guys, that's their front, and it's going to be on Andrew Thomas and Evan Neal. And God, please, just if we can just somehow give Daniel Jones like a half a second extra to throw the football, maybe we could put together some drives. But this pass rush that the Eagles have, I don't think it'll be as bad as that Monday night game against Dallas in week 3, but it could be. These guys are good. And our offensive line, Mark Lewinsky, has been bad. He's the weak point right now, and it looks like we might have another week unless Bredesen's healthy. Does Nick Gates start at center, or they go back to Feliciano? That's a recipe for disaster. We could get Daniel Jones killed back there with the way the Eagles get to the quarterback and our inability to protect him, especially in the interior. So terrified is what Brian Dable said. And I would be terrified of this front if I was Daniel Jones, because you might be getting smacked every time you drop back to the football.
Exactly. Let me just look at the fact that teams are already keying in on our offensive strengths. They're loading the box on Saquon, and they're very much reading the bootlegs that we've been trying. Now, we've mixed in a couple of different concepts with the same play strategy, but in essence, the bootlegs teams are starting to key up on. The play actions teams are starting to key up on. They're loading the box on Saquon, and the Giants haven't really shown that they trust Daniel Jones or the receivers to get that ball downfield. So it's a recipe for struggling to score on offense, and that's been the thing for us for a little while now. How it gets fixed, it's not going to get fixed this year.
No,
this is our offense this year. There's little deviations here and there, but by and large, this is the team that we're going to have. We're hoping that it's enough to get us 9 wins in a playoff spot. But this is still very much a rebuild. We're going to see an entirely different receiver core. We're going to probably see an entirely different interior offensive line next year. And there's a chance that we'll be looking at a different quarterback next year. All these things are still very much on the table. So in terms of personnel, I don't think that – well, I think it's very clear that whether it's the offensive line, whether it's the receivers, whether the quarterback, or whether it's all three, there's something amiss. They're not completely trusting because you just saw in that 2-minute drive in the first half against Washington, where they had, I think they were 3rd and 1 at the 11-yard line with about 19 seconds remaining. Daniel Jones ran like a bootleg kind of sneak, and it got him a couple yards, and that was it. Like, what was that gaining you? Do you know what I mean? Like, he didn't even throw to the end zone. I mean, that's just safety for safety's sake is what that is. And I wonder whether the Giants, in their desperation to ensure that Daniel Jones doesn't turn the ball over, that they've almost overcorrected to the point where they're afraid to have him do anything. What would you say to that?
I think you're right because, and I've talked about it before a couple of weeks in a row now, Brian Daboll, when he first got here, said that he doesn't want Daniel Jones to be afraid to make mistakes. Interceptions are part of the game. Are they good? Absolutely not. But if you're throwing picks, usually that happens. Oh my goodness gracious. Let's get this off of the channel. Oh my God, they're all over the place. Get out of here. Anyway, as I was saying, they're back. Go away. This is bad.
Damn. Yeah, we're getting all kinds of dodgy links being sent to us. I'll try and get that blocked for you.
Thank you.
Block user.
It's getting an error on my end. Maybe
Oh, yeah. They found a way.
Uh-oh.
They've hacked the system.
Uh-oh. Let's try to get back on track. You're right, because usually when you're seeing interceptions get thrown, most of the time it's going 10 or more yards down the field, maybe a little bit less. Daniel Jones has thrown a few sketchy interceptions in his career, but even this year, what's he only thrown 4? So there's really not a lot to base it off of. One of them was the ugly one against Aiden Hutchinson. I think he had 2 against was it Dallas? He had 2 against Dallas or 2 against Tennessee, and he had 1 against Dallas. So they don't want to take those chances with him. And why not? And we talked about it before. Why not evaluate your quarterback? We know that even if we get to the playoffs, probably not beating whoever we face. It could be San Francisco. It could be Seattle. It could be Tampa. We don't know at this point, but we probably don't have enough to go on the road and win a playoff game. Fine. No one expects us to go to the Super Bowl. But because of the fact that he's a free agent at the end of the season, you don't know what your situation is next year, because if you make the playoffs, you're going to be drafting at pick 19 or 20. That's the lowest you can possibly be. Who's going to be there, if anybody? Is Richardson going to fall? I don't think so. Even though he's a very big prospect in a project, he probably won't fall. There's a lot of quarterback-needy teams out there. Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't, but you don't know. So why not give Daniel Jones a shot, let him air it out, because if he can make it work with this group of receivers, imagine what he can do when you actually have a full offseason to evaluate all this talent. You can clear up money, and Joe Schoen can finally do what he wants to do without the restraints of having 3 cents in your pocket for cap space, because we're going to have a better amount next year. He can finally build a roster that he wants to build, where he doesn't have to worry about a lot of Gettleman clutter, and it's going to look a lot different. So if he can make it work with Hodgins and Slayton and Lawrence Cager and Richie James, imagine what he can do with a potential Odell Beckham and redraft the receiver. And maybe they bring Slayton back next year and he becomes a really reliable number 2, number 3. There are options out there, but we're never going to know unless they trust number 8. So let him air it out. You have nothing to lose at this point because we don't think we can beat the Eagles. Let it rip. Let him throw the football. Don't be afraid. This is an experimental year, and we got 7 wins. I know, and it just seems like now they're trying to coach not to lose so they can have that chance to make the playoffs. Don't do that. That's what we don't want to see, because we saw that last year with Joe Judge and the year before. We knew we weren't going to make any noise, but they were still like, hey, we're trying to win a football game here. Just let it rip. Let it air it out. See what you got. And if Daniel Jones becomes a better quarterback between now and the end of the season, guess what? It gives you more of a reason to bring him back, and you've answered a very big question for next year already if you know Daniel Jones can run with this offense.
Well, of course, you learn something, and that's what all I want to do is I want to learn. It's another year gone where I'm no wiser as to Daniel Jones. I think that we've figured out his floor and his ceiling, I think his ceiling is probably, what would you say, Kirk Cousins, which is not a bad ceiling at all. Ryan Tannehill, I think, is even more appropriate. I think he's a Ryan Tannehill, which means that if you put the right pieces around him, he's not going to lose you games for the most part. What's his floor? Well, I mean, his floor is still very much mediocre, slightly below it. So is that what you want pushing forward, going forward with an entirely new general manager, with a new general manager coming in and his guys and his new coaching staff? Is that kind of what you want? Probably not. I mean, I'd like a change. I personally like a change. I think I'd like to aim higher than Ryan Tannehill ceiling. But as for your point, yes, it does no harm, and that's why I would sit Saquon Barkley against Washington, purely because I don't want him to aggravate his injuries, because I think against the Eagles and play him against the Washington. So I don't want him to aggravate his injury, and I want him to be fresh for the Washington game, which for me is our target. And I would use that as an opportunity to develop a passing game around Daniel Jones against the Eagles, because I think that's our best way of beating them. I don't think we're going to get too much room to run the ball, not against their front, but their front are awesome pass rush. So, he won't have much time, but even if he gets that ball out quickly, gets a couple of sweeps, gets a couple of screens, a couple of mesh routes, just a couple little moves here and there just to get that ball moving downfield, pepper those balls out. And at least we'll then kind of have a better idea of where we're at with Daniel Jones. Because, I mean, you're saying that we have salary cap space next year. True, but it'll go fast if you, for instance, franchise Jones and re-sign Saquon. That's a chunk gone. So, or even if you extend Daniel Jones and tag Barkley again, it's a chunk gone. So I want to be sure. We all want to be sure.
Absolutely. You're not wrong at all. I'm just saying, I'm not saying this is going to guarantee he's back next year, but my main point is you don't have anything to lose. Because even if you let him walk and you draft somebody or you sign a veteran, at least you still have Tyrod Taylor back there, and he could be that bridge quarterback for all we know. So maybe Anthony Richardson does fall and they go with him. So I don't know exactly what it's going to be. There's still plenty of time between now and the end of the season. There's still plenty of time between now and the draft, obviously. Tony says the floor is Davis Mills. I certainly hope not. I don't know if Donald froze. He looks frozen. Yeah, he definitely froze on me. Donald. Yeah, I think Donald froze. I don't know if Tony, if it's on your end. Yeah, Donald is gone. It's just me. Donald left us. Donald froze on me. The Giants have been so disappointing after such a hot start. Donald just froze. Frozen, he cut out. Never thought I'd see the day. Tony says, Robin Donald, you guys deserve more attention on YouTube. Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm hoping Donald comes back. Yeah, he was frozen. Now he's gone. I'm hoping when he comes back, he will see that comment. Hope his internet didn't cut out. But I don't know what really to talk about now since he's gone. We were going to get into our predictions for the game. We can't do that until he is back. But for whoever is in the chat, let us put some predictions in there, ask a question, and Donald's back. He's back. All right. We're good to go. You cut out on me there.
I know. My internet went.
God damn it.
But I did see this lovely comment from Rob and Donald. You deserve more attention on YouTube. You guys know your football. That is very appreciated, man. We're getting there. We're climbing there. We're climbing slowly but surely.
Climbing the ladder. So I think the Lions have a better shot at the set. Yeah, the Lions are creeping in there. The Vikings are running away with that north, but there's still a possibility that the Lions could sneak in. to that 7 spot. Right now, what are we, the 6? Are we the 6th seed?
Yeah, I'm just gonna have a look at our little playoff thing. I'm not discounting the Lions at all. I think they've got a better offense than the Giants do. In fact, there's no think about it. They do have a better offense than the Giants do. They got my boy Amon-Ra St. Brown, who is just an absolute beast. They got 2 superior running backs. And Goff is having a really good season, in my opinion. I think he's having a better year than Daniel Jones.
He definitely is. Their offense is where we would like ours to be. And I think our defense is a lot better than theirs. A lot better than theirs.
Oh, yeah.
If we had the Lions offense, I think the Giants would have, at least 3 more wins. This could be, if we had the Lions offense, this game could be for the division lead potentially. That's how good the Lions offense has been this year. I wish we had that ability to put up 25, 30 points a game, but the Giants have been stuck in this like black hole of getting 20 or less for the last maybe 6 or 7 years. So hopefully that changes.
Yeah, just look at the NFC North. The Lions have put up 315 points, which is more than the Vikings, who are 10-2, and they have Jefferson. The Vikings have 289 points. So it just shows that if they've got the worst defense in the division, that's the problem.
Yeah,
but they're hanging in there. They're 5-7, couple wins. You never know. I still think they're pretty much out of it. I think it's the Commanders and the Giants, really.
You wouldn't have tied Washington with the Lions. Absolutely, we would have crushed them. No doubt in my mind. We would have beat Dallas in week 3 at least, and we would have creamed Washington if we had Detroit's offense.
Seahawks 7-5.
To that team scares me because the 49ers now not having a quarterback. I think Seattle takes over that division. So if we do sneak in there still and we win 2 games out of our next 5 or whatever's left, go to Seattle. We already know that's not a good recipe for us. So it's like,
no.
I would rather go to San Francisco with their quarterback situation, even though I don't think we would beat them. We'd have more of a chance to beat the 49ers than we would Seattle. But I don't want to get
that's good for Garoppolo, man. I was very disappointed to see Garoppolo go down because he was having a good year. He was having a comeback year because he wasn't the starter coming out of camp, and then he comes back in and he does a great job and then he gets hurt. And I think he'd have taken them really far this year. Like I think they would have made another championship game with Garoppolo.
It's possible. If not, they would have beaten us in the first round. They'd probably get at least divisional playoff.
Oh yeah, easy.
But let's get into our predictions for the massacre to be on Sunday.
Okay.
But let's go a little bit different here. We'll save our final score prediction for the end.
Okay.
So let's start with the quarterback, Daniel Jones. How many yards, touchdowns, turnovers does he finish with?
Well, it depends on their game plan. I don't know what their game plan is going to be. A lot of it is dependent on Saquon. If Saquon's out, then I think we see a lot more of Daniel Jones. If Saquon's in, then you'll see a lot more of Saquon Barkley. So
very predictable offense.
It is. So, I mean, it's still not going to be great either way. I don't see like crazy numbers from Mr. DJ. He's not done it all year, and it's little to do with him. But let's just say that he'll be north of 200. So let's go a nice, safe 220 yards passing, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions.
All right. Tony has 140 yards, 2 picks, no touchdowns. So he's pretty much saying Davis Mills is showing up.
Davis Mills.
I'll say DJ finishes with 176.
Oh my God.
I think he'll have 1 touchdown, and I think he's throwing a pick in this game.
Damn, I thought I was being negative.
I don't see how we air it out against that secondary that Philly has is about as scary as their pass rush. So
yeah, they don't really have any weaknesses. They have none. They are so good, such a good team.
Now, if he plays Saquon Barkley, the yardage and touchdowns for number 26.
I mean, even if he does play, like, how effective is he going to be with his neck injury?
Yeah, the one hit, and I don't think he should play.
I don't think so
you're
either.
absolutely right.
So do you want to should we just have running game in general? How many yards on the ground are the Giants going to have rather than Saquon?
Yeah, let's go with that because if Saquon doesn't play, then none of us get a shot to win.
Yeah. So like Giants running game. So if the Giants put up, so for you, 176 yards passing, how many yards on the ground are the Giants going to eclipse?
Oh man, I don't know. 70.
What in total?
I don't think we're running. Well, yeah, I got to account for Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
But do you think should we just go with the running game or running backs? Just running game.
Running game in general. Running game.
Okay.
How many
I
yards
think at that rate, I think I'll go 115. I think Jones might have to run a little bit more. Tony says 70. Tony just might as well give us 0 points the way Tony's predicting this game so far.
Tony has 70 in total. Oh man, Giants are going to get absolutely railroaded here by according to Tony. I don't think he's terribly wrong. I have 101 all in, so I'm hardly Mr. Optimistic here either. So that would, in general, be 321 total yards for the Giants if that was the case.
Oh, Tony says total run game 110 and a touchdown. Okay.
Oh, okay.
So our one touchdown is going to be from the running game.
So 110. Got that written down.
All right. First touchdown, which might be our only touchdown, if we find the end zone Sunday.
This is a positive podcast today.
Look, we got to be realistic. Severely outmanned for this game. Severely. I hate Philly. I hate giving them credit, but my goodness, they're a good team.
They built so fast, too, because it was only like 2 years ago where they kind of sucked.
Yeah. I wish they'd go back to that.
Yeah.
First
now they're a super team. Like, how do you build? It's like Madden. Like, only in my builds can I turn an average, a below average shitty team into a super duper team in 2 years.
Tony has Jones getting the first touchdown. I have Jones getting a touchdown, so I think he'll get one to. Oh man, I hope Bellinger plays. So I'm going to go Bellinger.
I was going to go Bellinger. Okay, so Rob, you got Belly from the Bronx. I don't know if he's from the Bronx. Just saying, Belly from the Bronx sounds really good. I was going to go Bellinger, so in that case, I'm going to go either Hodgins or Slayton or Breida. Breida. I think a passing touchdown to Breida is very possible, but I'm going to go with Slayton because it's very safe, and there's very, very few passing options.
That's true. All right. Who leads the Giants in receiving yards?
Well, that's easy. I think we've already accomplished that. Like there's only one freaking answer. Unless Daniel Jones starts learning how to catch his own passes, it's going to be Darius Slayton every week.
No, I think this week be Isaiah Hodgins.
Dude.
I got to go the other. I got to go the other option.
Take the L. That's fine with me, man. That is absolutely fine with me.
Yeah, Tony says Slayton as well. I mean, when you have one option every week, I mean, I want to change it up. Look, I'm not going to say Kenny Golladay again because when I do, he ends up with like 3 yards. So I'm not going to go ahead and make that mistake. At least Hodgins has a shot.
Well, Kenny Golladay, might as well go into the Pepsi vendor.
Might screw that up too at this rate. I don't know. The Giants seem to have pretty good people on the sidelines giving them their Gatorades. And, you know what? If he's in the crowd handing out medium Pepsis, he'll find a way to give him the wrong size. He'll put them in small cups. That's what it's been with Kenny Galladay.
Kenny would hurt his hand just handing over a Pepsi.
Oh, my goodness. Now let's switch it up defensively. Giants had 5 sacks last week. Can we match that, or do they get lower?
It'll be lower because sadly Hurts is incredibly mobile and he can take off at any given opportunity. So I do think we'd maybe pick up a couple sacks, but he's very, very mobile and he's not completely stationary, which helped us last week.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, I'm going to go with 2.
I'll say 3.
Okay.
Even though Leonard Williams probably won't play, I still think Kayvon and Aziz can get something done. And Tony already has his answer for the first turnover. Evan Neal gets a fumble recovery?
Evan Neal fumble recovery. How does that work?
And they go 3 and out? Do the Eagles go 3 and out? Wait,
Evan Neal fumble recovery?
Is he lining up on special teams?
Yeah. Well, if we made him a designated tight end or something like that.
I mean, Andrew Thomas still has more touchdowns than Kenny Galladay in a Giants uniform, so it's entirely possible that he plays.
What are we doing here, Evan Neal? Come on, man. Right, so I don't think it's Evan Neal. I think we can safely say that our right tackle is not going to have a fumble recovery unless Daniel Jones fumbles it.
And maybe Daniel Jones won't count as a turnover then, because if Neal's recovering the fumble, it's not a turnover.
Exactly. So it's not a turnover. So either way, it made no sense. Whose
Tony.
idea was that?
It was Tony. You got Tony. You got
Tony, bro.
You're shooting in the air. Okay, well, that's what happens when you're a Texans fan. Sorry, Tony. I had to do it. You said Evan Neal's going to get a first turnover. I had to get back at you. Anyhow, first turnover, if we get one. Man, we had 2 players complain about playing time last week. Tay Crowder and Rodarius, which I'm surprised Rodarius Williams barely played at all. I don't think he played at all last week. Tay Crowder, I'm not upset.
No one's upset at that.
I think
Tay Crowder.
I think it's going to be a fumble recovery, and it'll be Micah McFadden who gets it.
Okay.
Watch it actually happen. I'm going to look like a god. Tony, if Evan Neal gets the Giants' first takeaway in this game somehow, I don't think I can do it yet, but you will be the first mod on this channel. There you have it. Because I'm not sure how to do it.
I will make a promise. I'm sending you $200 if Evan Neal somehow gets the first turnover. In fact, I could go up to 1,000. I will give you $1,000. Evan Neal will not
keep it at 200. You don't want to complicate yourself.
I am that confident.
Oh my goodness!
My fumble recovery will be Aziz.
Yeah.
Either a forced fumble or fumble recovery, maybe both.
Tony's gonna go see like one of those voodoo people. And he's like, please somehow make this happen where Evan Neal plays defense for 1 snap, and that's the play where he gets the takeaway.
Frick! What the frickety frick?
Oh my goodness. So that our last prediction, final score. Tony's was 38-10 up in there in the chat, I believe it was. Yeah, 38-10 Philly.
So we're at the prediction stage of the scores. Rob, what's yours?
I think Philly is going to win this game double digits. We'll put up a fight in the first quarter and a half maybe, and then it'll start to turn away. It's going to be 28-13 Eagles. I could give them 31, but I'll keep it at 4 touchdowns.
Okay. I do think they're going to break 30. Tony has 38-10.
Yeah.
Okay, let's think. They will eclipse 30. I'm thinking they'll have around about 17 at the half. I think the Giants will keep it close in the half. You know, they'll maybe be within a score, maybe be within 10. Yeah, but maybe 17-7, 17-10 at the half. And we're thinking, hey, the Giants are right in this. Anything can happen. And then the floodgates start to open.
Goes down the shitter.
Yeah, I think so. So let's go 34 to, let's see if they have anything. Yeah, about 34-10, I think.
At least, I mean, as pessimistic and negative as we have been, I at least have us getting 2 field goals. My goodness, both of you only have us getting 1. Give Graham Gano some credit. God, put some respect on his name.
Maybe what, 34-13? Yeah. Yeah, problem.
Give us at least
you got 28. Tony got 38. I'm in between at 34. Tony's got 10. You got 13. So, yeah.
And that's that. So, yeah, well, hopefully the Giants prove us wrong. But let's get into our weekly picks. Because I'm pretty sure, Donald, with the 49ers winning last week, I got the W.
Oh. Yeah, let's do it. We both had the Falcons.
Right.
So that was an L, right?
Let me just go to week 13. The Falcons did, in fact, lose.
Yes. I had the Vikings. You had the Jets.
Okay, so it's 1-0 Donald.
We both had the Ravens.
All right.
The Washington Communities. The Washington Communities. The Communists. I had winning. Rob, you had the G-Men.
So nobody gets a point.
Nobody gets the point there.
Still
No one
1-0.
had the tie. I'm shocked that no one's at the tie. Right, okay. We both had the Lions.
The Lions won?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they won.
Oh, yeah. Oh, they smacked them around. Right.
Okay.
No. We both had the Ravens. So you got 2-1. No, 3-1, actually. You had the
Okay.
Vikings. Okay, 3-1 you.
Both had the Packers.
Okay.
We both had Seattle.
Ah, yes.
I had Miami. You had the 49ers. Good job.
5-4. You.
We both had the Browns beating the Texans. Well, that wasn't very hard.
As much as I hate it, then idiots back. But
Okay. We both had the Chiefs. We both had the Chargers. No one saw that coming. We both had the Cowgirls. We both had the Bucks. And finally, Rob, you had the Eagles. I had the Titans. I think we're tied.
that tied us for the week. Wow. So the Giants tied, and so did we. And even as negative as we were, are we not true fans? We tied the same week our team tied for the first time since 1997.
True Giants.
Look at that. We stick with Big Blue no matter what.
No matter what.
No matter
Let's get
what.
into our predictions for next week.
All right, week 14. We already have the Eagles beating the Giants, so we don't have to worry about that one.
Mhm.
Big game in the AFC East, which I'm surprised it was not flexed. But we have Jets Bills. 1
Good
p.m.
game.
Very good.
Fun
game.
game.
In Buffalo, I don't know. I want to pick the Jets, but when I do, they don't play well. So for Luca's sake, I'm gonna pick Buffalo, and maybe I'll be wrong.
Yep. Bills.
So it is Tony. He has the Bills. We got the Browns and the Bengals. This will be Deshaun Watson's first game.
He
against
did not
Cincinnati.
look good last week.
He really didn't. Joe Burrow,
Browns
however,
and
did.
Who's he playing?
Bengals.
Well, he's gonna lose.
Yeah. Cincinnati.
Doling now, but the Bengals are climbing, man. Joe Burrow's having a very good year.
It's my Super Bowl pick, and they're starting to look like it.
I love me some Joe Burrow.
All right. Well, here's one for you, Tony. We got the Texans going to Dallas to take on the Cowboys.
Oh my God.
We're going to talk about slaughter. We've been talking about murder and chaos and every other superlative you can use for just bad stuff happening in a football game. Look no further than a 17.5-point favorite Dallas Cowboys.
You might as well have made it 150.
If the Texans cover, that would be a huge disappointment for the Cowboys.
I know, right?
Dallas in a landslide. Dallas by 30, Tony says. And he's not even the slightest bit confident.
Damn.
Nor should he be.
I wouldn't be surprised if the Texans make it closer than we think. But the Cowboys will win. But, I mean, this is ideal for the Texans because they're wanting to tank. They want to tank for the top quarterback. So they're tanking for Stroud.
Yeah. Good for them. The Vikings head to Detroit. Big game for the Lions. They can prove a lot of people wrong or a lot of people right, like Tony, if they win this game. Do I do it? I'm going to take Detroit.
Let's have a look and see here.
Although, who's covering Justin Jefferson?
Yep.
Nope. Guy is an unbelievable receiver.
He is unbelievable. You're going Detroit.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Detroit. I'm gonna go with my first gut reaction was Detroit. Tony is with me on this one.
Well, since you're going Detroit, then I will go Vikings.
All right.
Even though I really like Detroit. But yeah, makes it more interesting.
Got the Jaguars headed to Tennessee, take on the Titans. Titans got walloped by the Eagles last week.
They did. Give me the Jags.
I'm going to go Tennessee. I think they rebound this week.
Okay.
Matchup in the AFC North. Ravens head to Pittsburgh to take on the suddenly red hot.
This is going to be ugly. What's happening with the Lamar?
Ravens look bad. The Steelers, which I saw a stat that Kenny Pickett hasn't thrown a pick in like 200 some odd passes or whatever it is, which means he's guaranteed to throw a pick.
Mm-hmm.
Tony has the Jags beating the Titans. But I think the Steelers take this one. Yeah, Tony's got Pittsburgh as well. I think the Steelers take it at home. Maybe I'm just going with the hot hand here, but
Oh, ugly. I think it's going to be like 12-10.
certainly possible. Well, speaking of ugly, we got the Chiefs going to Denver, take on the Broncos.
Oh, yeah, your favorite team, Denver.
Yeah.
You always go with let's cry.
Well, not this week. They're give me the Chiefs.
Dude, you always go with them.
I'm pretty sure the 3 times I didn't go with them was when they won. They're 3-9. Oh my God.
What an embarrassment. Like, what a disaster. As Joe Benengo says, what a disaster.
All right. Bucks 49ers, which would have been a lot more enticing had Garoppolo been on the field. And having said that, though, the Buccaneers offense does not look remotely consistent right now. The 49ers still got a really good defense. I think San Francisco might be able to edge this one out by one score. I'm going to take the 49ers.
I am going to go with Tom Brady. I'm riding with the GOAT. I'm riding with the GOAT.
Never a bad choice.
Despite all the terrible coaching that he's having to deal with, I'm going to ride with the GOAT on this one to edge it out.
Tony's got the Niners.
I think it's probably – I mean, the 49ers are a much better team, much better defense, much better offense. I just don't know if their quarterback is going to match up with the GOAT. So I'm going to go with the Bucs to edge it out. It's going to be tight. It's going to be boring. It's going to be like 17-16, 20-17, something like that.
Seahawks hosting the Carolina Panthers. Gotta go Seattle.
I've been going back and forth on this one.
Really? Yeah, Seattle's kind of been slumping a little bit.
Yeah, but they need it if they're going to make the playoffs. So I'm going to go Seattle too.
All right. Dolphins, Chargers, Sunday Night Football in LA, which might as well be neutral ground at this stage.
Miami versus the Chargers. I just don't think the Chargers have any way of stopping Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
They can't really keep anybody in front of them. Like, they're really struggling, the Chargers defense.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Dolphins.
I know.
They're not going to a cold weather city. It's California.
Yeah.
Might as well be
How's Tua's health? Because his health was questionable.
I hope he's okay. Because if they don't have Tua, then it's a
different story.
Big fat L coming. Nothing coming out on the end of Tua here. So
okay, he was questionable the other day, but he might have been more maintenance related. So in that case, I'm gonna go Miami too.
Tony's got the Chargers.
I'd like to see the Chargers win because they've got too much talent to be this disappointing. I'm very disappointed how mediocre they are. They should not have lost to the Raiders. No way.
No. The team that just lost to Baker Mayfield. Yeah, there's no way you should lose to them.
Unbelievable.
Round out the week. Yeah, you got people saying that you should apologize to Baker Mayfield for what? Get out of here. Scrub. Patriots, Cardinals rounds out the week. Monday Night Football in Arizona. Patriots 6-6. The Cardinals 4-8.
No, this is another team that you really that's both teams you like to go for. You like to go with the Cardinals. I'm going to go with the Cardinals.
I'm going to go Pats. And that's it for the weeks. Falcons, Bears, Packers, Colts, Saints, Commanders on the bye. So that is our picks for the week, and that is just about it for us here at Nerding Out Sports. Hopefully, maybe there's some crazy scenario where the Giants pull out the upset on Sunday and come away with a very, very unexpected W against the Eagles. Nonetheless, we will be back Sunday at some point, maybe afternoon, evening, to break it all down and talk about the game and get ready for what will be the inevitable playoff game against the Washington Commanders next week. Not this week.
Yeah, we'll have to do a live stream of one of these games, playoff contending games.
Well, it has been flexed to Sunday Night Football.
Yeah.
So hopefully, if my schedule stays the way it's been, we should be able to live stream that. But that is going to be one of those, put it in the back burner for now because I'm not sure about the schedule. However, we could be back for another live stream, Giants Commanders Sunday Night Football in a couple of weeks. That should be a heck of a lot of fun. Thank you to Tony. He was in the chat the entire
Tony,
time.
my man, loyal fan. Good job, my man.
Chatting it up with us, gave us a great compliment. And yeah, and if anyone who catches this on the on-demand when it's done with the stream, be sure to leave your comments, predictions from the game, and what do you think the final score is going to be? Are we just being too negative on the Giants, or are we being realistic? You let us know, and be sure to like, share, comment, subscribe, follow on Twitter. All the handles are down in the description. Check out the Boys in the Big Apple, which Donald is a part of with Alex and Luca every Monday night, 8:10 p.m. They break down Giants, Jets, Knicks, Yankees, all great stuff. Tony's also going to be in the chat for those as well. So if you ever want to talk more to Tony, you can see him there and you can also see him here. But that is it for us here at Nerding Out Sports. Once again, thank you so much for watching. Let's go, G-Men.
Let's go blue.